Hello, everybody. Doug here. My mic arm again. Second time in a row I forgot to bring it down before I could play. Hi, friends. My name's Doug from 2 Plus Stuff, and I'm just hanging out today. Actually, I did a stream yesterday where I had some time in the morning, and people seem to enjoy it. So I'm kind of like in a point in time right now where I need to relax after really rushing on the Flesh Eater Court videos. I do have more coming, I promise. I just need to chill for a little bit, right? Paint some stuff, remember why I like the hobby. And so that's what this stream is going to be about. A lot of junk in the world, and I'm just going to paint about it. I hope you'll join me. So what we're going to be doing is having just a few conversations about things that make us happy in the hobby. I have a few questions here written up on the side just to get us kind of primed and going, but if you ever come up with something that you would like to talk about, let's do it, as long as it remains in the theme of talking about things that make us happy. Let me just pop the chat out here so I can see it. Oh, I got Elect Man and I got Ricey. Hey, how's it going? All right. With that out of the way, grab out your models and brushes and let's get to painting. Hopefully not with super glue. What I have in front of me is all the raiders that I built yesterday. I primed them black and then dry brushed them to get ready for some, what's the phrase people use? Slap chop? So, just looking to see, this light is a little bit warm. There we go. Okay, so kicking off our hobby positivity discussion. Things that make me happy. There is nothing quite like seeing a fully painted Tyranid army. If you guys have never seen one, go do a quick Google search. The sheer scale of them is always so stinking fun to get lost in. And that speaks to a larger thing of like, one of the things that I like about this hobby is just when you finish building something and you step back and look at it, you're like, I did that. I did that thing with my hands. That's kind of cool. 2 thin coats of super glue never hurt anyone. There we go. Well, they will if I roll them into it. Now what I actually decided to do for these raiders here is I did contrast and then skag brown on all the metal bits, and then I went back and just kind of picked out some of the details here and there with different kinds of silvers and browns and stuff, trying to give it kind of a worn look. I like that kind of beat up raider armor look. I'm actually painting these guys got me to reinstall Fallout 4, which I haven't played in years, actually. Like, actually tried to play it. So it actually feels like I'm relearning stuff, which is really nice. It's kind of a bit of fun. Feel pretty good about him. Let's see what else. So he's kind of my test model as well, so Josh, been in a funk and have been trying to get back into painting minis. Any advice for people who are having a hard time getting back into the hobby after a break? Yes, I have many. So, a few things. Just getting myself all adjusted here. A few things to go through. So one is to make sure you're not overwhelming yourself. So if you're trying to get back into miniature painting, don't pull out all the miniatures you own. Just grab one that looks cool. Simply one. Doesn't matter if it's a grot, doesn't matter if it's whatever, you know? The point is, we want to ease into it. Everything else, my suggestion for folks is always to put it in a box and put it in the closet so that it is not in your line of sight. What else? getting back into hobby. Honestly, the big thing is just starting. You have to just decide to start. And then just kind of follow what seems fun. What kind of game, if you don't mind me asking, are you painting for? Is it like for a big army game, like AOS or something? Or is it for a smaller game like, say, Necromunda or, you know, something like that? The principle is the same. Don't let yourself get overrun visually, so you keep some models in the closet, and just go unit by unit. Playing games for me is often a great way to get motivated. Just not a fan of that flesh tone. It's just a little bit too bright. So what I would say, pick your favorite model, one that's hopefully not too big, and just start throwing colors on it. Or conversely, take a model you don't like and make it ugly on purpose. Just play around with paintbrushes. A little too bright on the face. I'm kind of reeling it back a smidge with a little bit darker color. Let's see. Okay, so that would be my first example. Another one would be limiting the color palette that you choose so you don't get bogged down. Yeah, and honestly, stuff like this, when you're painting quote-unquote with people, I know we're not really together, but I have always found that is highly effective at getting me excited to paint again, because at least you've already started doing it, and really you're hanging out with people. It's not solely about the painting, which I think kind of takes some of the mental pressure off. Rift Charger gray for this guy's jacket. So I think, yeah, hopefully you can join along with us. I don't know if you can, but if not, go ahead and pull this back up later. Foulmouth Gamer, are you doing the Young Bloods tournament at Adepticon this year? I was so excited seeing my son play. Oh, wonderful! Yes, I am. Me and Dan Bears are running it again. We just submitted our pack. We are doing the War Coda missions again. They're going to be having an updated version before the Adepticon date. So, like, again, just like last year, we'll have all the missions and stuff printed for the kids, but I would adore if your family came out. Same goes for anyone. 24 Adepticon Youngblood. So that's like 9 to 14.50, whatever. Last year we were a little worried about none of us had run a Youngbloods thing before, so we were kind of not worried, but just kind of like interested to see how parents would react, and they were just fantastic. We had some dads who play AOS come over and try to help us a little bit and like help the kids with questions, but they all seemed to come pretty prepared. We didn't have anybody that like I had a whole loner army. Nobody needed it. Yeah, I don't know. I was very impressed. What army did your son play last year? This is how we talk about kids without talking about kids on YouTube. Just because I don't recognize your name tag, your whatever. But yes, so we are planning to have another run, pretty much like we did last time. 3 rounds, 1,000 points. You build your army according to the core book, and nothing outside of your battle tome. If you guys haven't seen our way of doing these things, it's a very simplified version of AOS where we just took battle tactics and grand strategies out, limited stuff to your battle tome, put some restrictions on named characters and that kind of stuff, which, you know, for a 1,000-point tournament, of course, you're gonna want to do that. But yeah, it went off. I mean, I thought it went off really, really well last year. Maggotkin of Nurgle, yes, I remember you and your boy. We actually talked about you guys many days afterwards of just how wonderful things went. Just to make sure that it was all inclusive, everybody was having a great time. Absolutely. He's got like a sleeve or a sock stretched out on one shoe over here. This is the Forged, rather, from another Raider box. Okay, next question here. Gavin, just turn something to listen to. Started painting. If you get the ball rolling, it'll start rolling itself. That's great advice, yes. Electman, hey there, Doug. 2 streams ago when I asked for advice on basing my demonic simulacrum, remember you said you wanted to see the final product? I finished it yesterday and just posted it in the Discord. Let's see if it'll... Sometimes it doesn't want to load when I already have Streamlabs open with Discord, so let's see. Yes, that looks awesome. I won't do a screen share because of everyone's names and stuff like that, but that looks awesome. Go check out the 2 Plus Stuff Discord. It should be in the bottom of any show notes. For some reason, Streamlabs doesn't like my normal signatures. It has all the information on it. I have to figure that one out. These sad little weak elbows showing there. Good vibes. Hey. Stick with the theme. Finger shape made me happy. I've been stuck in a rut painting my Lumineth Wardens. Oh, dude, I totally get that. I don't know if it's just a testament to GW's design philosophy. I just feel like elf armies are always soul-sucking to paint. Like, no matter how much you like Daughters of Khaine, there's a limited number of the same pose of lady stretching in bikini that you can want to paint before you start to subtly lose your mind. Same thing with like, Deepkin and Lumineth. I just feel like, oh my god. I have to paint all that. I was just playing a whole bunch of Fallout 4, and I was like, why am I doing this? I should be painting models. And decided to switch over to painting it. Let's see. Painting AOS minis for Warcry for the most part. Some Stormcast and Cruel Boys. Awesome, Josh. And that's what you're... Yeah, Warcry is fantastic for that kind of stuff, because you can just take like a dude or two and just really focus on them and not feel like you're rushed to do anything else. That's kind of nice. Okay, let's grab the Skeg Brown. Looks like he's gonna play. Oh, Matt Cannon Nurgle. Listening to Prisoner of the Black Sun right now. I don't know what that is. Thank you so much. It brought him out of his shell. Well, that's very heartwarming to know. Very heartwarming to know for sure. Is there a way to link that BattleTech? I'm going to reintroduce new players to AOS next month. Oh yes, give me 1 second here. Let me just throw some Skag Brown on this guy's armor plate real quick. If you Google War Coda, C-O-D-A, it will populate, but I'm happy to, I think there's a specific like blog link or something I'll get for you. But you may have heard them talked about on Warhammer Weekly because they're actually put together, I don't know if it's both of them. I know Tyler works a great deal on the project, but it's basically like taking some of those older, way more simple and straightforward missions that existed in AOS 1 and then just kind of pulling those forward, which ends up being very nice. So it just kind of recreates them for a later edition. And quite frankly, it makes the game a lot easier because it kind of comes down to the basic thing of like, don't worry about objectives moving. We got 3 points, take them, right? I think that's it. That's the thing. Keep it simple. In my playthrough of Fallout 4 I was just doing, I went to go make a character and I based it off one of my miniatures here. I'll show you which one here in just a sec. I based her on this gal. She's in the Core Raider set. She has pigtails and they're like hot purple or something like that. She's got a gas mask and a crowbar running at people. And I was like, I want to make this character. Now mine uses guns because I enjoy some of the feedback that the guns in Fallout 4 have, but in general, yes. Okay. Let's see. Coda. Okay, it's hosted on AOS Shorts at the moment. There we go, I just linked it. Hey, Wargamer Welly, I'm still going through the chat, everybody, so if you have any thoughts or things you want to talk about, let us know. Working on Ionis again, sweet. I didn't mind painting. Yeah, exactly. Is there no Conquest role-playing game yet? There is not. And to my knowledge, I don't know of them working on one. Which I always thought was very odd, but just because of how much extensive story they've written. But, I don't know. Maybe one day. That'd be kind of cool. What did you think of the base? I tried to make the boards closest to the end of the spell look burnt. Oh, dude, it looks fantastic. You did great. I love it. I'm probably going to steal your idea for the coffee stirrers there. I tried doing wooden planks from a Nurgle army forever ago, and it just broke my soul because I was doing the green stuff roller. And now I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, I should have just done craft sticks or something. It got so bad, I was like, I don't want to keep this army because I'm never going to add anything to it because I hate the green stuff roller process for making the bases for them to match. I kind of broke myself on that one. Yes, very much looking forward to Youngblood. So yeah, speaking of positivity, that one got me so stoked about the world. Cannot even tell you. Thanks for the feedback. Oh, you're very welcome. Prisoner of the Black is a Hollow Knight Storm cast. Oh, yes. Yes. I thought that was called something else. I don't know why. That story arc makes sense. I don't know why I was thinking it was called something else then. I don't know what the heck I'm thinking of. But awesome. I'm glad are you enjoying it? I don't know. Just realized I didn't actually hear if you said. Didn't actually see if you're like, this book is trash. Gavin, painting a Riptide battlesuit on my end. Tau Mecha. Bright. Make your eyes bleed red with sunset yellow accents. That's sweet. What do you do when you paint up your army and you realize you don't like your color scheme? Dan, I have done this. I painted an Ironjawz army that looks like they belong firmly on the Denver Broncos starting lineup. I was not happy at all. I tried a new thing with blues and oranges, and I got a football team. And I was very disappointed about that. Now, there's a few ways you can go. Oftentimes, it's not as bad as you might think. By that, I mean, like, you can look at it and be like, I don't like this, but generally speaking, a lot of things can be dramatically improved with just really simple touch-ups. So for mine example, I found that, hey, if I go with a slightly darker shade of blue, maybe that'll, kind of appease my eye a little bit better. For me personally, like, I'm somebody who rotates through hobby projects very, very quickly because I like to be constantly painting different things, and I'm not a hoarder. I got no room for all this stuff. And so I ended up just trading and selling that army, although it's not necessarily what I recommend you do. That's specifically because I like trading and stuff. But go ahead and tell us a bit about your army, and we can definitely try to help you out. I mean, that's the nice thing about toy soldiers, right? There's nothing, you didn't ruin anything. It's not broken. You just got to figure out how to get you set up. It could be as simple as trying different shades or color patterns. Or it could be, I mean, still a little more work, but still simple as just stripping the models. So, the most important thing, I guess, what I'm getting at by saying all of this is do not let yourself feel like you have ruined something or wasted money or whatever things we tell ourselves when we're disappointed in how stuff goes. Cool. Now that I'm getting some of my color components together, we can start moving on a bit. Thank you very much. I've seen the War Code emissions. Not sure there's been any update since it dropped in 2021. No, but I was just on Warhammer Weekly with Tyler, who is one of the guys running it or organizing it, and he said it will be there by Adepticon. I asked him pointedly because I was like, if it's there, we're going to use them. And so he was like, yes, they most assuredly will be. So I suppose we're just kind of keeping an eye out. Alright, so we got those two. If you do any modding for Fallout 4, I do recommend Sim Settlements 2. Fantastic story mod that also makes settlement building actually fun. I don't know how to really do mods. I tried to do them on my latest thing of like Morrowind, and I just kind of just kept ruining stuff. Oh man, I just kind of like I got all the grass textures wrong, and so every spot of grass in all of Vardenfell is 4 feet tall. I was like, whoa. It's gonna make things hard to navigate. Like I started losing stuff on the ground. I couldn't see items that I was supposed to be able to. There's supposed to be a tax collector outside of Saint Denis, and I could not find him because the dude's body got buried. I was like, man, I actually made the game more realistic by hiding a dead body better than I was supposed to. Has anyone in my chat played Starfield yet? I am very curious to hear people's thoughts on it. Thanks, Doug. Much appreciated. Oh, you're very welcome. If you know enough Conquest lore, you could probably modify Symborum to fit. I don't know what that is. I assume it's an RPG. I don't know. We're just going to do a few at a time, so we'll focus on these. And let's see, what are we going to do for you? Oh, I'm waiting for the Skag Brown on him to dry a little bit more so we can get back in there. And I love this guy. If anyone has played Fallout, I adore the sackcloth head where it's just like a cloth, a bunch of straps, and a weird pipe coming out the side of it. It's just the best. Let's see. If you know Plol K, I believe it's. Does anyone know how Ossiarch Bone Reapers feel about death rattle skeletons and vice versa? Well, in one of their books, there was a short story. Oh, they kind of like rotate out short stories here and there, so like I'm not surprised if it's not in their current book. But there was essentially a skeleton or rattles, whatever, bone rattle. That's what it was. Kingdom and the Ossiarchs came. Now, because they're both death, they actually worked together for a little bit until the Ossiarchs started needing repairs, and then they started taking from the undead stuff, and then they clashed. Ossiarchs won very handily, and that's it. They walked away with a shiny new army. So I guess the point in answering your question is what they will do is work together so long as their interests don't contradict. And the second they do, Ossiarchs will snap anything that they want. For the greater good and stuff, you know how it goes. Let's see. Thanks for the feedback. Tadbat, what's the best way to understand the main story of AOS? Battle scrolls or campaign books? So, great question. I understand the confusion. There's a few stories going on at any time because Games Workshop is always pumping out material. So here's what I mean. Every edition of the game has a quote-unquote grand narrative. Like that's your bird's eye view. So for example, and they're often tied to campaigns, but not necessarily. So like in AOS 1, it was the Realmgate Wars. That was the campaign series, but also all of the stories had to do with it. And then AOS 2 was Soul Wars. So there was a campaign book that came out with Nagash doing the big Black Pyramid thing, but all of the stories and books that they put out for that entire, what was it, year and a half, 2 years, was set in Shyish. Right now, we're in the era of the Beast, so it's all about Thondia and stuff, and I'm assuming, I don't have any information, but if and when they decide to update AOS into its newest edition, there's going to be, I assume, a new overarching story. So, it's kind of tough to say, like, each season, I guess, or year, edition, whatever you want to say, of AOS is set in a slightly different place, and they always release new editions with a novel that goes with their starter set. So right now it's Dominion by Darius Hinks. If you wanted to get caught up, I'd recommend you start there. Not because it's necessarily the best book, but because, well, I love it. I think it's a great book. But also because it is the most current thing. Just know that we're going to be moving away from Gur likely in the future. That's probably the best way, is just look at what the edition it is, and then see what the book is meant to represent that season's starter box, and boom, you're good to go. Let me know if that in any way does not answer your question, or if you still have some. This guy's got belts and buckles for days. He is the most well-fastened raider. Not fashioned, fastened. In all of the land. He's gonna look awesome when we start picking out some of the other stuff. Gorgruntifer is one of my favorite paints. Of any brand, of any line, of anything. Where was my spot? Give me 1 sec here to find it. Alec-man, yes, I can't stand using green stuff roller either. I tried it with my daughter's cane. I'm just glad I have other reasons. Yeah, exactly. It just got to be a lot of resources, a lot of time, a lot of planning, because I can't just pick up something and get to it. I have to like figure out what I want the model to be with the base and line it up, get the right size of stuff. I don't know. It was just a pain. What should we name her? I'm thinking like Sasha. My character's name in the game is Scaver, because I love that name, Raider Scaver. But what do you need? You are ready almost for a wash. Hello, Andre. My first time catching you live. Thanks for the great AOS. You made me consider spending money I don't have. Well, you're very welcome, Andre. Battle Barn, how did your buddy like his Shatterpoint stuff? Oh, dude, he lost his collective. Yes. We're actually going to see him again tonight for the first time since I gave it over, but yeah, like I said, we have a mutual friend that kind of acted as the exchanger, and I said like, hey, you know, I don't want to charge you anything for this, but there is a price, and the price is I want a picture of him opening this, so and seeing how happy it makes him. And I got that earlier, and I was just like, oh, that's all I ever wanted. So he had the biggest stinking smile on his face. I feel like I'm just guessing where things are at this point. Okay, we got the middle. Does anyone else feel like Raider armor is the best armor in all of Fallout? I love like the rebar sticking out. Oh, it's the best. That and Trapper armor. Well, thanks for answering all the lore questions. Aw, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That means the world to me. Thank you, thank you. So, I believe it's pronounced Plol-K. I don't know. Please tell me if that's wrong. But anyone who throws a tip in the tip jar gets to choose the next conversation topic. So, give us one that has to do with hobby positivity. What do you like about the hobby, or what would you like us to discuss, if anything? I'll leave that open for you. You don't have to rush to it. I've been tempted with Starfield, but early reviews were rough. I'll stick to Fallout 4, I think. I played Starfield for about a day or two, and then Baldur's Gate came out and haven't looked back, but I'm excited to play it once I do. Nice. Any ideas or hopes where 4th edition of AOS could take place? I mean, I have my hope. How about that? My hope is that it takes place in Chamon, the realm of metal. And I say that because it was introduced to us back in Age of Sigmar 1. So we got some cool ties and throwbacks and stuff available to us. And they never really did much with it, but it has some of the crazier aspects of AOS lore in terms of, like, you know, flying islands and alchemical stuff and all that was weird, crazy fiction kind of stuff. And they have a ton of it. So I want to go to there. I don't know why we're hanging out in Gur, where everything is just... I feel like every book has just been... It's a bigger monster. It's a bigger monster. So now I got right past her armor bits. As far as... I don't know what I would want even gameplay-wise at a 4th. I will say, I like the concept of different generals' handbooks tackling different or approaching buffs to different kinds of units. Like, I like that they focused on, hey, we're all about wizards, now we're about small heroes, now we're about monsters, now we're about infantry that's, I don't know, has a weird weapon range or something. I don't know what they already did. But I did not care for how many General's Handbooks came out so quickly that I feel like I had at least 1.5 that I never played a game in. So it just went a little... That part went a little too fast for me. I know people complain about the every 3 years or whatever reset that they seem to be doing when it comes to their editions. But I'm actually more okay with that than I am. I don't know. Okay. 4 things of Wildwood. Here it is. Ah, Black Templar. I would love for them to move away from... I just didn't care for the battle tactics and strategies. At least as they are now. It feels like faction books all have haves and have-nots, which is the same thing that battalions were in the last edition. But I like some of the concepts. I don't know. It's tough. I don't envy those folks whatsoever. Wanted to pick out a little bit more dark parts of her gas mask. Okay. So Valorious, those are my hopes and dreams. I hope they move around and do new stuff with battle tactics and stuff, and I want them to move it to Chamon because I think the art would be incredible. Josh, something I love about the hobby is the painting and creativity aspect. It can be so zen and therapeutic. That's why I'm doing it, man. Holidays stress me the hell out, so I'm going to be live streaming a lot painting. Last night we survived a brush with death, i.e. a visit from my mom, and we're doing great. Do you think they'll add more fleshed out maps on the realms? I think that they are happy to do that if and when they know where they want the story to be. Like, if a campaign book comes out and it's in a certain area, I love those maps. I think they do a great job. The core rules, they really emphasized maps because people were desperate to understand the setting a bit more. And whenever they go into a particular region, like, again, with a story set, yes. How much of that map is useful to the greater context of the story is generally pretty dubious. So yes and no. Yes to maps, no to probably where you want to see. No to what area you want mapped out. Josh, not too long ago I assumed Ulgu was where we were going next in AOS, but the Dawnbringer books have made me question that. It's really up in the air, I feel. Yeah, I don't feel like there's been a terribly concise direction for things for a little bit. And I'm not sure what causes that. It could just be my interpretation, but I just feel like we had a lot of strong story focused stuff in Shyish. And it did get stale at the end. I'm not gonna lie about that one. But I feel like Gur. Okay, so I feel like they dropped the stuff for Gur and then just decided, actually, we weren't really having fun with that in the design studio and kind of just ignored it. Because what I mean is, when Soul Wars dropped, right, we had our big box set. Soul Wars was the book accompanying AOS 2.0? Yes. And not only was there Soul Wars, but there was the Forbidden Power, which was a standalone thing that added endless spells. Like, I guess what I'm saying is, you didn't just have the core book establish the setting. It felt like a more supported season of the game. Whereas with this, we really just had Dominion, the book. And there was, I mean, outside of GHBs, how much stuff really came out for AOS before this campaign series that looks like it's running headlong into the end of this edition. So it's just like I felt not terribly attached to anything. How about that? It's probably a amicable way to say it. But yeah, I think it was Tom on Warhammer Weekly. He just said it the best of just like, what have we done since we've been here? It's just a great question. Let's see. Do you think Trug's Altar will play a role in setting up 4th edition with the fetch quest migraine? I would love that. I would love it if that dumpy nerd was the one to finally smash open the gate to Azir because he just wanted his headache to stop. And all the gods and mortals who have tried to do so for centuries just stand there with their mouths agape. All we had to do was wake up a Trog with a headache. We could have been here this whole time. That's what I want. The next question here. Alec Man, I think you're being a touch unfair to focus on Gur, because only Thondia was about big monsters. The other GHBs tried to develop other regions in the realm. That's fair. But, I mean, how much lore did they really... I got all of them. Like, I didn't feel like each region was explored. I felt like they were listed. So, like, we know what Galley looks like in terms of the stuff. Some of the areas like being underground or whatever, whichever reason that was. But I don't know. I feel like I want maps of trade routes and I don't know, army movements. I feel like that's something they did really well with the Catacross one. Although we did get Seasons of War Thondia, now that I think about it, I'm looking at it on my shelf, I was wrong. Wrath of the Everchosen was the book I was just thinking of. I will not lie. I completely forgot about Seasons of War Thondia. It just did not leave a particularly big impact on my mind, I think. Do you think they'll redo some of the Stormcast sculpts for the new starter box? Like Ionis. What do you mean? What do you mean redo them? He just got a new one. I'm not sure I understand the question there, but do I think we'll get redos of existing sculpts? I don't know. On one hand, I really want like Liberators to fit aesthetically a little bit better into the faction. But at the same time, I don't want them to redo Liberators because Stormcasts already have a plethora of basic infantry options. Like, from every chamber, there is always a new base dude. And so I just feel like they have plenty. Why add more to the same thing? Let's see. I'm looking for questions here. Dan, who's the big bad in 4th, do you think? So I have 2 thoughts, okay? And I hope either one of them is accurate. Either Games Workshop is going to look at the success they had with 40K and their set and be like, oh man, people like going backwards for some reason, and then give us like a renewed version of the AOS 1 starter set, so it's Stormcast with, you know, now all the fixins versus another enemy or whatever. So if that's the case, obviously it's Khorne, right? If they decide to go backward, which I'm not opposed to, because I think Khorne is a really cool army, and I'd love to just see more development lore-wise. I wanted it when they started with Khorne stuff forever ago, but all right, I'll take it now. I'll take it in 2023. If they're not going with Khorne and they are doing something new, I think there is now ample evidence to suggest that Skaven might be in the future. And the reason for that being is just the sheer volume of things coming out that are easily confirmable to be or highly likely to be Skaven. So, you know, you always get those things where it's like, oh, this could be a brazier from any army or anything like that, and then you just see like the claw hand of a Skaven on a few of these more recent ones. I'm like, okay, well, if there's that many models that they're previewing, it makes me think that they're doing one of those things kind of like they did with Nighthaunt, where, well, I guess in the Orcs too, but Orc War Clans feels different because even though they were a new faction, they still went into an existing army battle tome. But with Nighthaunt is probably a better example, where like they came out with all of the starter set stuff. It was previewed for quite a while, so those were a lot of new sculpts that are going to be in the starter set. But then they started to kind of confuse us a little bit because there was still more stuff coming out in terms of the previews than what was in the starter sets, because of course they launched the starter box with the Nighthaunt, and then after that came the huge wave of like support heroes and all that kind of stuff, the Black Coach. And so I'm wondering if they're doing that. Like they're essentially saying, Skaven are being the next box set, and we're showing you tidbits of what's coming after that in support of. I think that is my ideal situation. So I would adore that. I would love to see Skaven get an update. If I was made CEO of Games Workshop for like a day, right? You know, that kind of fun. Whoever is in charge of deciding on the next project, whatever that lead is, we would have a chat. Not going to say anything dramatic like I'd fire him. Nope. They do a great job. But Games Workshop's one of their most iconic and like unique intellectual properties has always been Skaven. They're awesome. And the fact that they have not gotten anywhere near as much love as you would think, given the rabid fan base, just like, this literally does not make sense to me. I don't understand. I know I'm not like a business genius or anything like that, but it seems like you're the only one who makes the thing that they want. Why aren't you giving them what they want? This isn't even like Sisters, where it's like a thing that only kind of existed in the sense of like, you know, very hard to find support for an army and book and old models or whatever. This is like, no, people have been telling you that they are actively excited and buying Skaven forever. Don't tell me you didn't know. So yes, whoever that is, I'm sure it's a corporate business guy and not necessarily like a designer or something. But like, bruh, we need to chat. We should have been here like 6 years ago. Honestly, with the way Skaven ended in the old world, kneeling in front of Archaon, you probably could have had them be in the core starter set, and people would have absolutely loved that too. Let's see. I feel like a lot of Gur stuff really shines in the Warcry and Underworld settings. That's actually a very fair point. They never went into Shyish in the same capacity. Underworlds did a bit because it launched in the setting, but I don't feel like they explored Shyish because it was always kind of its own little pocket realm. But I have read the stuff for like the Warcry books and Underworlds. I always want to say Shadespire. And you're absolutely correct. I didn't even think about that. They do definitely take they make their own stories in it. How about that? I think that's probably the most fair way to say is that those guys make their own stories within the Gur universe, and I think that's why it shines so well. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of basing here while all these nerds finish drawing. Let's see. Josh, I do like that they focus on a single realm each edition as long as they spend time developing and exploring the realm. Exactly, yes. And I like that too because there would be too many directions, right? You can set your setting in one place and talk about other ones. And that's actually, I think, more beneficial for us as players and people who are interested in lore because it's not just about what an area is like, it's also how they're perceived. So if we're in Gur, looking at how they perceive people from Aqshy, that tells us stuff that we wouldn't know if we just looked at them kind of like in an Encyclopedia Britannica sense and we just had the stats. You know what I mean? Like people, I think perspective is definitely a thing that gets lost quickly and easily. I don't know. When it comes to like these grand narratives of various armies, it's easy to forget that like, well, it's not just about what they are. It's about what everyone thinks that they are, right? Perception is reality. I think Vince put it best. People hated the Incarnate, and that killed the potential of Seasons of War, Galley, and Andor of ever happening. Did people hate the Incarnate? I mean, like from a gameplay perspective, I would have no idea. I'm curious about that. I know that is a little bit heavy for the base here, but I'm just getting a starter set of color here, and then I'll come back and do the details later. Because honestly, if you're looking at a Raider's feet, you've probably already got a bullet in you. Who cares? I think Vanguard will be the next chamber to be Thunderstruck. Oh, you mean as far as like updates and stuff like that? No, man. That's the thing is, I don't feel like I have a very good idea of what they're trying to do with the new Thunder armor. Like, are they Primarising things where it's kind of like working out the old Stormcast stuff? I mean, even as someone who's very like hobby positive and is like, yeah, you know, stuff rotates out, it just happens. I just don't feel like Liberators are that old of a kit, you know, or the Vanguard stuff for that matter. That would seem very aggressive to me. We'll see. Do you guys also do Kit Bash? I put a Snipe Spyglass on my Vanguard Raptors. I also don't like the Karazai model, so I grabbed another bigger dragon. Ah. Yes, I do Kit Bashes. Fortunately, I don't have anything, of course, in arm's reach to prove that. But I do them. I'm looking around me and I'm like, I got nothing. I clean my office so that I only have my Fallout stuff in front of me for the reasons I mentioned earlier, right? So you don't get overwhelmed, but now I don't know where anything is. But yes, I do. I really like adding small stuff. A lot of basing things. What else do I like to add? I like having characters stand on various things, like, you know, cut out the rock, but it's whatever you want there. I like that. It's a simple one. If Skaven become the big bad, would they use them as stepping stones to bring Malarian back? Very probably. I mean, I think there's a lot of good storytelling between the sneaky Skaven and the shadowy elves, so that would be like different sides of maybe the same coin, possibly, perhaps. Why not? Hi, Duck. Hey, Everett. If it's not Olgu and Skaven, it'll be Stormcast versus Khorne, and the main setting will be Aqshy again, because one of the Twin-Tailed Crusades will succeed, and it'll be the one with the named character in it. That's true. Let's see. Oh, I do want some modern Skaven sculpts, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm not sure about the primarisizing of stuff. Like that was just a theory. Like I'm throwing that out there. Like if that's the plan, I don't think I see the long-term benefits. Wouldn't mind Stormcast taking a back seat for a bit. Yeah, you know, we had talked about that. The idea or the notion of Stormcast not being the hero of the next thing, and while I don't think that's going to happen, I do find the idea highly interesting. How new person friendly is the new Cities of Sigmar? I'm eyeballing it against my bank account's better wishes. How newbie friendly would you say it is? I have to defer to someone else when it comes to the gameplay because I don't play them. I saw the models and they are gorgeous. They didn't grip me quite enough to do a whole army. Like the disparity of reactions between when they showed me like the early copy of the city stuff and an early copy of the Flesh Eater stuff is non-comparable. I was over the moon with the Flesh Eater stuff. I was like, oh man. I did the Gene Belcher, that's as me now. Just going through. We're going to come back here with the silver and pick out some of the minor armor bits, but he is largely the same color. Maybe Slaves to Darkness. I think Stormcast already have too many War Scrolls, so maybe redoing old stuff is the best option. How would you guys... Okay, so I'm having this thought, and I'm sharing it as it comes, so it might be dumb. Hear me out. What if instead of... For Stormcast and maybe Space Marines in particular, although they don't have nearly as many base infantry options as Stormcast do in a weird way. For Stormcast, what if they said, like... They said combat reinforcements was the name of the War Scroll, and then within there, just like marking a unit in Slaves to Darkness, you then choose what chamber they're from. So if you choose Sacrosanct, that's when you put your... whatever those boys are called, Sequitors on the table. When you do the Warrior Conclave, that's when you get your basic Liberator, which is kind of the generic War Scroll, like that kind of stuff. So it gives you different keywords, but they're all kind of saying the same thing, which I feel like is just textualizing what's already happening. Is these are all the same dang model. Basic dudes. Choosing a type, changing a chamber rather, gives you a keyword and maybe a special ability or something. Or maybe, yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking of stuff like that, because it's just, the redundancy is so frustrating to me. Because there just doesn't seem to be a reason. They're not all contributing stuff. You know, there's your winners and losers, there's what people have and what they don't. I think starters need to always have one easier / simpler army, so cities might be tricky. I don't think Skaven are too... Slaves to Darkness would work. For sure, I think they're pretty simple. But anyway, I'm just trying to think of other ways to like alleviate the issue. That would require a little bit more bookkeeping. Maybe you have to commit to a chamber or something. I don't know. I just don't want to learn a fourth type of Stormcast basic infantry. Because at least with 40k, I mean, this Space Marines are still rocking intercessors. Like, they might be the most base infantry type, but they fill the role without duplicates too much. You have a favorite AOS model play-wise and from an artist's perspective. Okay, let me think. Play-wise, it is the Beasts of Chaos Shaman. By being near the Shaman, everyone runs faster, so it's a hero that lets you do the things you already wanted to do passively. And then when I played Beasts of Chaos, I specifically played Morgave, because when that same Shaman would die, because I yeeted him up the board to get everybody up there faster, they'd kill him and then he would become a spawn. And just the idea of mechanical storytelling is big for me, and turning something into a spawn is one of my it's just a favorite. I just adore it so much. Always has been my fave. That's kind of like more the rule side though. As far as the models go, I have always had the softest place in my heart for my Glottkin. I love him. I don't care. His stock has gone up and down over time. You rarely see him at events. But I love the dude. random points to turn into steel, and then we'll figure the rest out later. So the War Scrolls would be Redeemer, Paladin, Justicar, Angelos, and then let you pick Warrior, Vanguard, Sacrosanct. Yes. Yes, I was just thinking for the basic infantry, like, that's how you decide your basic battle line. But the same principle applies to all of them. I mean, not so much the Extremist Chamber, I suppose, but... I don't know. I have to think about it some more. I'm just trying to... don't like the redundancy. I don't like the War Scroll card books that are like 58 pages that you're not going to ever use just because some of those models, I mean, I don't know. Some are just old. That's it. Okay, so we got our guy here. He is... listening in while painting Ionis Cryptborn. Very chill. There are incredible versions out there. Oh, yeah. I dig that idea, Doug. I like what they did with the Space Marines units having specific to a storm host would be neat. Imagine anvils or hallowed version of annihilators. Yeah, that'd be cool. Are all redeemed? Yes, Electman. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes. Really just need these bases to try sometime this year. I think the skin turned out great on most of them. Grab. One of my new favorite paints, aka Decomposed Flesh, because it is a way cheaper version of Ushabti Bone, which was previously my favorite paint. The Fox Masks, thank you so much for hanging out and painting with us. What are you working on? I would love to know. See for anybody else out there listening. Oh, I just realized I'm not talking to my mic. I personally wouldn't want to see GW split Stormhost into different armies. No, not Stormhosts. Not necessarily. I could agree with that one. I don't think narratively they've put the meat on the bone quite yet for all of them to stand on their own. You know what I mean? Like, Hammers of Sigmar, sure. Sure, they got plenty of support. But like, I don't know, some of my ones I'm like, no. You gotta earn your interest. My local storage got Vallejo paints recently. Very excited. Nice. start moving on because these bases are taking forever to dry. What else can we do easily? Let's grab someone who doesn't have as much armor on. Oh yeah, this guy. It's in the cool greaser jacket. Yes. What's up, Michael? Oh, look, man, like what GW is doing for Dark Angels right now, that's great for Dark Angels fans and Space Marine kit bashers, but for fans of Fists, Scars, it doesn't matter. You know, honestly, I can't say I know enough about the 40k lore. Like, I know the broad strokes, but not enough to be like, well, actually, it's because the Blood Angels and the Dark Angels have an extravagant history that just hasn't been captured online in video format. You know, adjusts glasses and fedora. I haven't quite gotten to that level of knowledge yet, but my understanding is that they are a little bit on the deeper end of their background, and so they tend to get the love. Got a Stormcast army, and I like the approach of giving them a little personal touch with kit bashing. Absolutely. It's insanely fun. We playtesting more today, Doug? No, I don't have anything else in my mind right now. I need to work on a scenario first before I can go much further. But thank you. I'm very excited. Plus, there wasn't a lot of chatter about it yesterday, so I didn't know if it was coming off as a... I don't know. Not silly, but just not what people are here for. Really like your knowledge, by the way. Keep going. My knowledge? Oh, I have very little. I assure you. My wife and I joke that if I ever ran for office, my political campaign, my whole, like, my, what do you call it? Not a catchphrase, but your slogan or whatever is like, Doug, he doesn't know much. Clarify, I make that joke. My wife goes, that's not true. She's very sweet, very supportive. Got for blue. Oh, Spacewall's gray. Opinions, thoughts. I take it all in like a sponge. Oh. Well, thank you. Yes, slogan was correct. Okay, there we go. Solaris, Sutime, cut a stream, love content. Oh, thank you so much. I'm intrigued by. Oh, well, thank you. Appreciate it. I was like, that is the brownest looking Space Wolf Gray I have ever seen. No way. There we go. Okay. Must have had a little bit left. Brush. I don't know, I'm trying to think. What other thoughts and opinions do I have that I can mold minds with? Of course, now I have no thoughts. Sweet. Okay, coming together. Just want to add like the slightest dash of glue. Let's do that. I'm just going to take Paragon Turquoise and I'm going to get most of it off the brush. Working a little bit blue with these jeans. All right. We'll follow this channel now. I also like 52 miniatures. This dude just writes good scripts. Also has good ideas. Oh. Thank you. I try. I on a short. It's not really a hiatus. I'm not taking much time off, but I just needed a break because the holidays stress me out, and I always try to stream whenever I'm not stressed out, but when the holidays come, and if it's like a seasonal thing and I know it also is affecting other people, I'll be like, hey, come back together. I think a couple of years ago I did the I have no family stream, and it was like when I was in Seattle with my wife, and we just literally no one lived near us, and we were just like, oh, hanging out. Man, this is. When I was looking at the boxes, trying to plan out, like, okay, so what do I want my Raider gang to look like? This guy was high on my list. I love him. He's just got this like nice, just kind of a relaxed pose with the stock up against his hip. It just looks great. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Electman. $5. Thank you. This is thanks for all the reading. That oh yeah. One question for you though. When I paint my jade obelisk, I want the masks to look like malachite. How do I do that? Malachite. That's like a green rock, right? Let's check that out. My knowledge of malachite is limited to Skyrim. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, I'm going to go with GW paint names. Just because it's the ones that I actually know. Let's go... Oh my god, this website is so useless. I give up. Never mind, I'm not doing that. Sorry, bud. Okay, so what colors would I use? I would definitely start with something like a Dark Angels green. I like Sybarite green. Calibite green is great. It has a lot of the same color tones to it. You could probably even throw in some Sons of Horus green, which is more of a faded version. Depends on what kind of rock you want it to look like, because if it's chiseled and desaturated because it's like rough, this might be the better one. This is more of the color that you were pointing towards for your highlights. Yeah, Sybarite green. Yeah. That's probably how I would do it. I'd probably start there, and I would probably look at marble tutorials and then just replace the colors with, you know, the increasing shades or whatever. Maybe even have Ogre and Camo as your highlight, like your bright streak to go through, because it would add a dash of yellow. Yeah. Josh, question. Let me know if that answers your question, Electman. Josh is next. Here's a question: how to restart AOS community in your area? Mine seems to be flagging, and I'm looking to try to breathe some new life into it. Oh, best thing I can tell you: do you guys have a local game store or a place where you usually hang out to game? I would go to that person and be like, listen, just don't even mince words, because that guy's there to make money, or person, not guy, but you know what I mean. Like, listen, bro, your AOS community sucks on ice. Let's jazz this up. Realistically, what I think you should do is go to, I'm gonna let this stuff dry. I'll talk to you here. Go to the store owner and say, hey, listen, it looks like the community scene here is kind of like fading away a little bit. I would like to run an event. You don't have to have any experience to do so. Trust me, I ran one at Adepticon, first event I ever ran. And you just essentially, the market pitch is simple. Hey guys, you have an AOS army. Come out for a day of fun. And I think if you make the event styled around people busting out armies they have and focus on like camaraderie or fun aspects of stuff, maybe wacky missions or narrative things with lunch, I don't know, I think that would probably re-energize, because what you're trying to do is re-infuse positive memories. You already have the army, so let's give you a setting where then you can enjoy it. I think that's kind of the way to get people back into stuff. I don't know. I think it's easier when they've already made the investment. You know what I mean? So I think the play is being like, hey, you know that car payment you have sitting in your closet because you felt the need to go whole ham and buy an entire Daughters of Cain army because it was on eBay? Bust that sucker out. AOS Field of Dreams, kind of. And I would say just be very intentional and reach out to folks who you knew were in the community and be like, listen, please come to this. You can go to other stores. Just make sure that people know about it. But for the same reason that people in the Corvette Club are always so anxious to do annual drives across the country. It's because when you get to use your toy that you put all your time and money and energy into, that's fun. That's winning. I think it does answer my question. I got a clip. Okay. Because I can't paint and watch a live stream at the same time. You have a wonderful night too, as well. Oh, that's funny. Let's get those guys here. How about anyone else? Any other questions? I don't know. I hope that was helpful to you, Josh. But yeah, I mean, if someone's already made the investment of their time, just reminding them why it's fun. And if they're honestly like, wow, I forgot how much I hate this game. Well, now they know that too. High fives, learning all around. Let's see. Pigcat. Oh my gosh, Pigcat. I love that. That is the best username ever. As a Daughters of Cain player, good choice. I'd like to know where you see Daughters of Cain going in the next lore. Well, things that immediately pop to my brain. I want to know what Morathi's been up to. I want to know more about what happened. Like, really, I would love if the Battle Tome included an entire section for Anvilgarde, Hark, Huron, but like, I mean, like a big collection of it, because that's when if they dedicated 6 pages of that Battle Tome, which is a lot for a Battle Tome, right, to talking about Anvilgarde, I think that would do nothing but make the Daughters of Cain a better faction. By that I mean, like we talked about before, when you're in one realm and you're looking at another, right, the perception of other factions is really important. So I want to be an Anvilgarde, or Hark Huron, because I want to know what it's like with Morathi running it. I want to know what it's good at and what it's bad at. Why Stormcast haven't taken already, / if there's an underground revolution brewing. I want to know how they interact with all the other factions. Like, no one else has like the one singular city that could be used as a perfect plot device to tell the story of everybody, right? Very few factions have that, but I feel like Daughters of Cain really do. So yeah, I think in terms of learning more about the faction, that's where I want to see the focus. Now, of course, just following, because the whole faction really does bend around the will of Morathi, learning more about her and her perceptions of things is also very, very important. Like, I'd love to know what she thinks about Kragnos, someone who tries to use people as much as she does. She has to see him as a chess piece, right? You think? We never really got that, unfortunately. If they leave, that's an army you can buy off of them. As a Jack from Rerolling Ones had definitely done that before. Broke a man's spirit and then bought his, I think, Ironjaw's army. Wasn't trying to break a spirit, by the way. Let me just make that clear. whole religion over this game. Super helpful. Oh, good. Josh, here's a question. Next brand new army you see coming to AOS, and why is it Goblin Sky Pirates? It's Goblin Sky Pirates because they teased us with it and never delivered. That's why it's Goblin Sky Pirates. For me, they're dry. We can start doing some more fun stuff with the armor here for these other guys. And I'll throw a wash on him so he's drying at the same time. I also like the idea of Skaven pirates. I like the idea of Skaven. We've also had a submersible army, which doesn't necessarily make sense for AOS, but by golly, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Games Workshop. Next AOS army. What do I actually think? I keep thinking like I want a new Dwarven army, and then I keep thinking about it more. It's like, no, actually what I really want, to be truthful, is just I want them to just take an entire second stab at Fire Slayers. Ground up. Like what I really want is just them to be like, Fire Slayers are now the coolest faction ever. They are very cool, but I would love for them to move away from the patriarchal design. I mean, because it's intentional, and I don't mind that at all. But what I'm saying is, they have so much of the lore built up in like who the Rune Father is, but then that doesn't really ever seem to like trickle down into what the army's like. So, if you have a leader like Manfred, Mortarch of the Night, you can have the same undead army and you swap him and Neferata and it's a vastly different army. But Rune Fathers, who are supposed to, in lore, really curate what their lodge is like, have, of course, on the game top, almost nothing to do with them, right? It doesn't matter. And so I just feel like, I don't know. Gotta walk the dog. The palette is a piece of art itself. Yes. Yes. Collective waste of a generation. Alright, now I need my orange. Now we got this nice brush with a sharp tip, but we're still going to use it for tactical booping, as I call it. All this does is just brighten up and rough up our armor, which is all I wanted. Oh yes, give Fire Slayers rune golems, rune... Exactly, yes! I've talked about at length being a big fan of the idea of the baby Dracoliths, and I still think that would be rad. What else? Yeah, I mean, like... You guys were supposed to be strong enough to live outside of Azir during the entire Age of Chaos. Act like it. You get that old, like, inspirational, was it Anger Wolf meme going? Top of the food chain. Act like it. Oh, that's right, I need this. Hmm. But yes, I would absolutely love. You guys are supposed to have been strong enough to survive. Oh, yes. I'm glad that I made an impact. Excited to get the lighter colors on the bases and start getting them, because I think once they pop off the base, they're going to look even better. This guy is just a boss. Drift Charger. I'm going to put a second coat of Drift Charger guy on him, because I just wish it wasn't quite as washed out. Fire Slayers and Ogres seem to be just there for GW. I don't know what is the realms. There's these guys. Pretty much, yeah. I feel like that's that's a lot of the factions, honestly, that aren't Order. Is just, and now this effing thing. The camera just pans over. There's just a Beast of Chaos standing there looking dumb. Do this girl here with the giant sledge. I'm gonna give her kind of a duster jacket. So I legit forgot about Beast of Chaos. Don't feel too bad. So did GW. I'm good. They really are one of my favorite armies, by the way. I hope they come into prominence in the next edition. Because they kind of gave like a little bit of a teaser for Morgur coming back. And I want to go to there. I want that. my time here streaming just because my voice is getting a little tired. But we got a lot done. I mean, my first guy was already kind of mostly done just because it was my test scheme. But then once we dialed it in, yeah, man, we knocked out. This is a whole gang that you would fight in Fallout 4. 6 nerds, and one of them's got a huge weapon that you weren't prepared to deal with. So, friends, I think with that, I'm going to go ahead and clean my brushes off and call it a day. I hope that you are all doing well. Please stay happy and safe during the holidays. Like I said, it's stressful for me this time of year, and I hope it's not for you, but I will be doing a lot of live streams throughout the holiday season just to kind of take some time, relax, slow down, and I hope you'll join me for that. So, thank you all so much for hanging out.